Hi guys, welcome back to See You in Heaven podcast. Today for episode 9 we're going to be talking about confidence. And just another reminder, because we probably haven't reminded you guys in a few episodes, but Telma and I are not pastors. We're just two friends wanting to have a conversation about God each week and just see where we can grow in our faith. And so I want to open up by asking Telma if you think today's generation struggles with confidence.
Yeah, I definitely think that, a lot of girls struggle with self-confidence, and just because we're going to social media and also like putting their self-confidence in boys or like their actual physical looks. And we all know the boys are messy and they can let us down a lot of the times, and then also looks fade. And so I think when you're putting your self-confidence in things that are inevitably going to fail us, then we're just going to have low self-confidence. We're always going to be searching for the next thing that's going to give us confidence. So I definitely do think that our generation struggles with that.
Do you think we struggle with it more because of social media too? Just because we're probably the most self-absorbed generation in a way, just because we post everything and constantly are seeking attention from other people in that platform?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then also just seeing like other people as well, and always comparing ourselves to things that we see on social media and all these girls, and it may not even always be looks, but like lifestyles, and being envious of what other people have, and that in return can make you just feel low and not good about yourself. And for sure I think social media plays a big part in that.
Have you ever deleted social media or gotten rid of it for a moment because you were like spending too much time thinking about like comparison?
Yeah, I don't know if I've deleted my social media because of like seeing, or having low self-esteem, but I have definitely taken breaks from it because I just feel like I spent too much time on it. I haven't done a social media break in a long time actually, and I feel like maybe I should do that, but that would probably be good. Have you?
Yeah, I've taken breaks from it before. I don't know that I've really taken breaks because of struggling with self-confidence. Sometimes I just didn't want to I just was spending too much time on it sometimes in high school and like the beginning of college. So I took at least a year off from social media at one point in college, where I didn't go on Instagram for like a year, I think.
It was a year? Really?
I think so.
Wow.
You could look back at my posts and see there's a gap somewhere in there, and I think it was a year. And I really enjoyed not being on it for that year, and I don't honestly really know why I went back. Probably just the curiosity of seeing, feeling like I need to see what other people are up to all the time. I don't know that I deleted it because I, like I said, struggled with self-image, but if I'm really honest with myself, social media probably does play into that, because whenever I post something, I probably don't really just post it because I just want to post it. Like, I probably post it because I want the people that follow me to see that I'm posting that. And I don't know that I've ever been bothered by, like, the likes that I receive or the followers that I have, but I definitely do get a hit of dopamine when someone comments, like, oh, you look so pretty here, Kylie, or oh, that's so cool, or, whatever, like, just making my post seem cooler than it is, and agreeing that whatever it is that I'm doing is, special. It definitely makes me feel better about myself. So I don't know. I probably should go on it less. I really don't post much, but just constantly being flooded with what everyone else is doing all the time. I feel like the last few months I've probably been on social media more than I had throughout college. So I don't know. I'm probably due for a break too.
Yeah, and I honestly think like that is so sad. Like, it's sad that we can't just post something because we like it, or you know what I mean? Like, it's sad that we like have specific like people in mind, or like, oh, I'm gonna post this so they can see that, or they can see this. And it is really sad because I don't remember social media being like that when it first came out. Like, I remember Instagram being so fun and people just posting whatever they wanted, and it was just like a fun thing to do. And now you're right, like, it's more of like putting up a front, and definitely I don't think it's real life. But personally, I love taking pictures with just like anything. I feel like I'm really creative, and I like having like a cute little aesthetic. That was hard to say, but like to me it's fun. I think it's like a creative outlet, and I just love, and also I do that for my job too. I'm part of the social media team, so I definitely enjoy social media, and it does kind of sometimes make me sad that I can't just post something because I like it. I gotta be like, no, this has to be really, really good so like it can reach my audience and like all this stuff, and there's so much like stress on it now, and it's not just fun, and you're just doing it for a creative outlet, which is kind of sad. But yeah, maybe I should take a break from it.
Maybe we could both do one at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you think that because of social media and just the way that our generation is so obsessed with ourselves, whether it's like the emphasis that we put on self-care and the emphasis that we put on posting and sharing all that with everyone, do you think that we prioritize having confidence in ourselves too much? Like more than people before, where it's like maybe people in my mom's, like when my mom was going to high school, never really thought like, oh, maybe I have a poor self-image. Like maybe that wasn't something that was on their minds, but it's on our minds because it's talked about more, probably because of social media and stuff. Yeah,
that's a good question. I haven't even thought about it like that, but yeah, no, that's crazy. I don't know. Like, I definitely do think that it's more of like just a relevant thing now. Whenever I meet somebody, they're like, oh, what's your Instagram? Let me follow you on Instagram. Or what are your socials? Let me follow you on your socials. So it's definitely it's just more relevant now. And yeah, I don't know. You know what's crazy is I follow this girl on TikTok, and I really like her a lot. She's super cool, but she talked about how she got invited to this beauty event, and they had separate rooms depending on how many followers you had on social media.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that insane?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like that would have to mess with your
no, but it happens. Like all of the events that she had gone to, they all have like separate. If you have 1 million and up, like you enter this way. If it's less than that, you go this way. Like, and they all get like separated, like based on how many social media followers like you have, which is insane. So, and it's really sad actually, but
yeah, I can't imagine that being my job. Like an influencer or something on social media where I'm relying literally on what people think of me to be successful, or maybe even something like if you're an actor and you're relying on like people being, or a musician, like something where you're putting out something like creative to the world and then you're just relying on the feedback of others to continue in that career. That would be hard. I don't know that I would do well in that space.
Looking for approval in others, and and not getting, I just feel like that would be so detrimental to somebody's self-esteem for sure. Like you put something out and everybody hates it, like and it's so hard when you put something and you're all into a project like that, or in social media, whatever it is, and somebody, people hate it, and like, who are you then? Like everything that you worked for is like gone, and that's difficult.
Well, okay, so another thing that I was thinking about is, so when you said we were doing this topic this week, or you wanted to do this topic on self-confidence, I was thinking about what self-confidence really means and whether or not I have it, and like what it means in light of God's word, obviously, because that's what we want to talk about this week. And this, I don't know that self-confidence, or no, I'm pretty sure self-confidence is not what I'm after, right? Because our confidence should not be in ourselves. And so I guess the way we've been approaching this conversation so far is talking about, having confidence and, what we post, and not also like taking other people's opinions with, too heavy. What do you think, as Christians, where do you think our confidence should come from?
As Christians, like the Bible answer, of course, Jesus. Like, my confidence comes from Jesus. But that's the truth, okay? That may sound like such a Bible school answer. I don't care. Like, that really is like where our confidence should really come from. And I think it's also like we need to be asking God, like, how do you see me? Like, it's not also how do I see myself, and like
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, how does God see me? And also, like that verse in Psalms 139:14 that always talks about like praising God because we're fearfully and wonderfully made, like we're made in the image of God. And so yeah, definitely I think our self-confidence should come from God. Like I have literally nothing else. Everything else will fall, everything else will fade. Like
Yeah.
That's eternal. It's having the, you know, confidence in God.
Yeah, I agree. I think in some ways that term self-confidence for Christians is almost a little dangerous. And I know when we were talking about it earlier, we weren't really meaning it, I don't think, as in like, oh, I don't want to take what other people think about me to an extreme because I have all this self-confidence because of who I am. It shouldn't be self-confidence at all. It should just be confidence in who you are in Christ, in the way that he created you, like you were saying in that Psalm 139 verse. Like the creator of the world, the creator of the oceans and the mountains and everything beautiful in this like a part of this life, also thought that the world needed, you know, one of you, and created you in your own unique way and set a plan and a purpose for your life. And so when we think about it in that regard, we find our identity in Christ and not in how other people see us or even how we see us, because how we see us is flawed too. And I think that's what you were kind of getting at a minute ago.
Yep.
I think that helps.
Just seeing like ourselves through God's eyes. Yeah, for sure. And I also think like that this might be getting off the topic a little bit, but also that just helps so much with like, you know, really hard people, or whenever you're have a hard time connecting with somebody, or you just have that person that you just don't get along well, just really trying to see them through God's eyes, I think helps. But I was also thinking about this too, and I'm like, how do I have self-confidence? And from a very early age, I think my parents really instilled in me that looks is literally not everything. You know, I like to think that I do take care of myself, and I like to present in a way that shows people that I do care, you know, about how I look, just because my body is a temple of Christ, and I do, like, I want to, like, present myself in a way that I am going to be confident. And so I don't think I've struggled with confidence. I mean, everybody has their days, obviously, but the other day I was thinking, I'm like, what truly like makes me like the most confident? And then I'm like, I think it's just like accomplishing things and like doing things. So, and then I got to thinking back to like COVID time, and I remember like everybody was isolated. I lived in my apartment by myself. I didn't talk to my roommates, and I was in my room and like not doing anything. And I wouldn't want to say I was depressed, but I got to a point where I was just like not happy with myself, and I know it's because I wasn't accomplishing anything literally in my life or in that season. And I remember like sending my husband a text, well, my boyfriend at the time, and I was just like, I just don't know where I am. Like, I'm in such a dark place right now, and I just feel like my relationships aren't going anywhere. Like, I'm not happy with where I am with God. And I think that being complacent and just staying in the same phase for a long period of time, whatever that is, for me it was like almost a year where I hadn't done anything. I just felt I had no self-confidence, like at all. So after that, I'm like, okay, I think I want to get my real estate license. So then I got my real estate license, and then after that I was like, oh, okay, like now I'm feeling better. And but anyway, I just definitely think that like accomplishing things and doing things and growing and always leveling up in every area of your life really just, to me, brings me a lot of self-confidence, and it just like helps me feel better about myself. But
yeah,
what do you think about that?
That makes sense, because I mean, when God has a perfect plan for all of our lives, and if we just sit in the same like season and don't grow as people, don't grow in our faith, don't grow in our relationships, don't grow in our career or whatever, then it's like we're refusing to follow God's plan and to keep growing with him. And so I think that makes sense for sure. I probably, I don't know, maybe I take it the opposite way sometimes though, where maybe I put too much value in accomplishments, and I beat myself up for not progressing in certain ways and thinking like, well, maybe I'm not good enough, and like maybe I'm not actually fulfilling the plans that God has for me. I guess I think of that in my career sometimes, because there are certain parts of my career where I definitely could grow more, and I don't want to in every way necessarily. I don't always take the steps that I should to keep growing. And then I get fearful that, I'm not following his plan. And sometimes then when I do accomplish something, then I get a big head about it. And so, having like too much pride in what we're doing, I feel like also feeds into maybe having more confidence in ourselves than in what Christ is doing through us. But I get what you're saying. Yeah,
for sure. I think also too, like back during that COVID time, not doing anything and just really like, I think I got lazy first of all, and so then I became lazy with my relationship with God. So that was first. Definitely didn't have any self-confidence there in like that relationship, and also like my relationships with my family and my boyfriend at the time. I just feel like everything was just kind of, it was like a domino effect where things were just not good. And I just it's so crazy how like we're so different, because I like not doing anything or accomplishing things, like it just like getting up every day, like I have to make my bed and Brent makes fun of me for that, but it's like I just have to do like one thing and I feel good about that, and that's just like a simple thing, you know, like personal stuff and also professional, and I always feel like I need to be doing like the next thing. I just growing, I think, and kind of developing myself really gives me a lot of self-confidence. And I was going to say something else too, which I don't remember. But
that is interesting where you were saying there's like a difference, because maybe it's that I struggle with pride more and you struggle with like, I don't know.
Like I just, I guess I could be like a sort of like a pride thing too, but I see it more of like a sense of like, okay, I got this done, like I'm ready for like the next thing. Like it just gives me a purpose. And also like it, you know, instead of me looking at like, oh, I want to get confidence from like doing my makeup every day. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but like accomplishing things and doing things like for my personal growth gives me like the most confidence. And it's really funny because like my friends at work will always make fun of me for like trying new things. That's like one thing that I feel confident, like gives me confidence whenever I like pick up a new hobby, or like I do like something here or there, whatever it is. It's really funny because I'll pick something up for like a couple of months and then I'll like move on to the next thing, you know. So I start like little businesses here and there. I started like a reselling like clothes business, and I did that for like a couple of months. And then I did this thing called like Lorraine's Gallery, like art gallery, where I sold like little art, like I re-thrifted like frames and I made art.
Did you stop that? You told me
I'm not doing that anymore. So my thing now is like photography, and I'm into that and I love it. I don't think photography is going to go anywhere, but see, that's like what gives me confidence. It's like trying new things and like having hobbies, and I don't know. And my friends will be like, whenever they see me at work, they're like, what are you doing next? Like, what are you going to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat, just like waiting too. Like, I don't know. Some like random thing, I'll get like an idea and then I just run with it. And I really like that just makes me like, so it makes me like confident that I'm accomplishing and trying new things, but also like it just makes me happy. But, I don't know. Just accomplishing things and trying new things and never staying in the same like stage in life for, you know, just always evolving and growing just really gives me a lot of confidence in myself.
I admire that. I should try to stretch myself more in those regards. I think it's special too, because it's like you're finding out more of what God designed you to be able to do, and like the special traits he gave you and like the skills he gave you, like exploring different arts like photography or painting or whatever, just shows you more of how God created you to be able to do that. And there's probably a lot of things in my life where I honestly feel like when I look at my life, I'm not super talented in any area where it's like, oh, I'm really good at this and I have this particular hobby. Like, I like to work out, like that's kind of one of my hobbies, but I'm not great at working out. And I picked up crocheting this year and I'm really bad at that, but I like doing it. But I don't know that I really have any hobby that I just like excel in. And so I'm still trying to figure out what God has you know, just like the little side things that he has for me, that he created me to be able to do this specifically, and I'm good at this. And so I don't know, I'm still kind of on that journey.
But that's good. Like, you're figuring out. That's what I'm doing too. It's
but
I do a lot, and I do a lot. But I feel like one of these days I'm gonna find, and I think photography will probably be that thing for me. But like, just trying, I don't know, does that give you confidence? Because to me, that's like when I'm the happiest, and I think that's why COVID time was so dark for me, is because I didn't have any of that, and I was literally, I just felt like I was so cringe in my own skin because I didn't have outlets, and I didn't have anything to talk to people about. Like, it was, I don't know. Do you find confidence in hobbies?
Yeah, I mean, well, I just said I don't really have that many, but I could see where that would give me more confidence. Like, God, you created me to do this, and like I see that, like you put this into my personality, you put this into my skill set, and so like I can praise you through this. But yeah, I need to figure out what that is. I'm trying to think what my hobbies even are.
Yeah, because what other ways, like, do you feel confident? Like, how do you work on your confidence? Besides, obviously, like, God is number one, and, like, our confidence should come from Him. But what's, like, tangible things that you would do that make you confident?
See, maybe I don't, because I can't really think specific here. I feel like I'm, like, the kind that's like, yep, my confidence comes from Christ, and then I say that, and then obviously, like you were saying earlier, like, but that doesn't always, like, it should work, but then I get in my own head, and I'm like, oh, I'm not confident about this, and I can be a little self-deprecating about things sometimes, where I think pride is just always something that I'm so scared that I'm, like, too prideful about things, and in a lot of ways, I probably am prideful about things, like, it's probably definitely something that I struggle with.
But confidence is so much different than being prideful, though.
Yeah, but when you take it the wrong way, when I have confidence just in like my capabilities outside of like what God created me to do, and outside of like using it to glorify Him, and I feel like I do that sometimes, where like sometimes I'll get, you know, kind of like a little lukewarm in my faith, and then I'm like everything's going good and everything's coming up roses, and then I'm like, oh, I'm kind of good at this, or I've kind of got life under control, and then something happens, and then I'm like, oh, never mind, I don't, like, I need you, Jesus, like my confidence comes from you. And so I don't know, I fall into that trap pretty easily. And then sometimes because I'm worried I'm going to be too prideful in the way that I'm confident, like I'm worried that I'm not confident through Christ, like working through me and through my identity being in Christ, but I'm just confident in just Kylie and her capabilities, that then I start thinking like, well, I need to be more humble, and then I'm like self-deprecatingly humble, because I haven't really figured out how to be like correctly humble sometimes, if that makes any sense. That's a weird way to word it, but like sometimes I'll be like, well, I'm just not smart, or I'm just not, like, I'm not going to be good at that.
And you do that a lot. And the other thing, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but the other thing is like, whenever like I compliment you, you're like, oh no, like this thing, I was going to tell you this, I'm like, Kylie, you need to accept that compliment and like just take it and embrace it, and just I'm like, sometimes you don't have to say anything, I'll just be like, thank you, or be like, oh, I'll be like, Kylie, this sweater is so nice on you, and you'll be like, this old thing, oh no, it's like 12 years old, or like, oh, this ugly thing, no, it's like 12 years, oh really? I'm like, Kylie, you just need to accept the compliment and just like take it in. But I know it's like, it's really hard to do, because you don't want to be like, oh yeah, like this, yeah, I know it looks so good in it. You would never do that, obviously, but I can definitely see how it would be so hard to like have that confidence, but at the same time still be humble and know that everything comes from God. And I don't know, I think it's just such a fine line to walk, but I don't know, like everybody's on their own journeys. Everybody gets their self-confidence or confidence from, you know, ultimately it should be from God, but also there's different outlets and different, because you could be the most like Christian, God-loving person, you know, and still struggle with self-confidence. That's like it's a big thing for girls, and that's why I think that, I don't know, it takes a while. And also I think when you get older and you start to appreciate your body more, if we're thinking about like, we're talking about physical, you gain more confidence. Like, I don't know, but it's really hard.
It is hard. But yeah, you're so right for pointing that out, because I'm definitely a deflector. Like, I'll hear a compliment and I'll be like, oh, I can't take this the wrong way. Like, I can't agree with it.
Like, Kylie brought a drink over today, and she like brought it, and she made us a drink, and like the first thing she's like, I don't know if it's gonna be good. And I'm like, Kylie, just be like, just be excited and be like, this is gonna be good. I feel like also like you need to like talk, not you specifically, but I can do this to myself too. It's like I talk kind of negative to myself sometimes too, and like we talked about like how words have power, and I really think that the way that we talk to ourselves have like an impact on really how we feel too. So also reminding ourselves like, hey, I am the daughter of a king, like why am I talking to myself this way? So I think just using gentle words with ourselves and just being kinder to ourselves can definitely help with confidence. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I did not mean to call you out.
Okay. It's good that you did, because it's something I'm aware of that I do.
No, but we've talked about this before.
I know. And it's definitely, this is, honestly, I told Telma, I didn't really prepare for this episode. I think because I didn't have the confidence to prepare for it. I'm not kidding. Like, it stressed me out, like, thinking about confidence in having this conversation, because I know the answer. Like, I know the biblical answer. Yeah, your confidence comes from Christ. Your confidence not in your flesh. But then applying it is really hard sometimes. Yeah. And then also, I get stuck not in just the, oh, well, what if I'm not humble enough, or what if I'm too prideful, that whole dance. I also get stuck in the, well, do I really rely on God as much as I should? And, like, do I put too much value in myself and how I can get the job done? And we were talking before we started recording about someone in my life who's been dealing with a lot of like just spiritual darkness and anxiety lately, and this person just keeps speaking the negative over themselves, and I've been trying to encourage them to just speak God's truth, and that perspective and identity is everything. Like, if you just keep agreeing with the anxiety and you keep agreeing with the darkness, and keep agreeing that your life is horrible and that God's not there for you, like, that's just gonna keep feeding off of itself. And so I think it's important to remember, as you were saying, that we're daughters of like the one true King, and that God can handle any situation, and that we have to just invite him into every area of our life so that he can work through it. Like, there's this Rich Mullins song. Do you ever listen to Rich Mullins? He's a worship guy. He's from like the 80s or 90s, because all my worship music is from back then, clearly. I shared the one last week. But Rich Mullins has this song called Hold Me, Jesus. And in the song, he says, surrender doesn't come natural to me. He's talking to God. He says, surrender doesn't come natural to me. I'd rather fight you for something I don't really want than take what you give that I need. And I feel like sometimes that's where I get stuck in this circle of confidence, is where I trust that God has the right plan for me and that he's going to direct my steps, but then when something doesn't go the way that I want it to go, then I just don't surrender it to God, and then I can't work with what he's given me because I'm so hung up on the fact that A didn't work out and now I have to do B, not knowing that B is is what God wanted for me, because that's where he directed it. And if I'm walking in his will, then I should know that that's the best. But I just hold tightly to things sometimes, and then I lose confidence when it doesn't go my way.
Okay, so that's like more like confidence in God, like trusting him. Okay. Yeah,
I guess I got off the self.
No, you're good. I feel like there's so many different like ways to be confident. And, having confidence in God, and like that he's gonna work through your life. Confidence in, who you are as a person. Also confidence of, I think like physical is like a big thing too. But you know what I struggle with, like, in confidence wise, would be like me comparing myself to other Christians. Like, that's a big thing for me. And I feel like that has been a big thing for me, actually, for, like, even when I was in high school. Like, I remember just being like, oh, well, God probably loves him, like, way more than me because, like, they're such a great Christian, or they're doing all of this. And obviously that's not, like, I know that's wrong. Like, I know it. And I know that's not the truth. Like, obviously God doesn't love that person because they're doing more than me. But, that's an area that I struggle with, or that I have, like, sometimes. Obviously I know it's Satan trying to get in my ear, those lies, feeding me those lies. I just know I know it's not the truth, but I think that's an area where, like, I could definitely work on more, where I just compare myself to other Christians, and like my walk with God. So
Yeah, I do that too, for sure. Because then you get into the whole, well, it's not works-based.
Yeah,
but maybe
I
this
know.
person's doing
Yeah.
more, and so is God, maybe not even so much does God love them more, but is God blessing them
Yeah,
more because
yeah, like,
of their...
oh, yeah, that's God's favorite right there. Yeah, look at everything that's going on in their life. Like, yeah, for sure. I definitely have that. And yeah, sometimes I get down on myself and I'm like, well, maybe I need to be doing more. I need to be doing all of this. And I know that's not me talking. I know that's Satan. Okay.
Okay.
But sometimes I just need to tell him to get out of here. But because I know the truth, I know what the truth is. And sometimes, I mean, everybody struggles with different things. And that's something that I do struggle with sometimes. But yeah.
I was also going to say it's good to have people in your life who build you up, who aren't just like yes men and who say like you're perfect and without fault. Like we were talking about last week with godly friendships, like sometimes a hard conversation is required, and it's really amazing to have people in your life who do speak truth to you and don't just like, you know, I was going to say butter your bread. Is that a phrase?
I've never heard that.
That was about to come out of my mouth and I don't know what that means. Anywho, that's probably bad. What was I saying? The people that don't just like applaud you all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry for my weird face. I don't know what that means. Anywho, people that don't just applaud you all the time, but that speak truth over you. Where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Oh, but it's also good to... So, yeah, that's good to have those godly friends in your life. But it's also good to have godly friends in your life who do build you up in Christ and who do, you know, like, don't have a negative reason for don't give you backhanded compliments, and who, like, truly do love on you and encourage you. And, again, I'm grateful for our friendship for that reason because, like, you don't just... you are an encouraging friend, and so I appreciate that. And I think that does, like, your confidence shouldn't come, it should come from Christ, not from other people. But it is helpful to have those people in your life who constantly remind you of, like, who you are in Christ and your identity in Christ.
No, yeah, for sure. I had that on my notes, actually, was the environment that you're in. You know, if we have any like young listeners, any young girl listeners, I feel like the environment that you're in for sure can either like really make you be a super confident person or not. Like you could have the most hateful friends that like, you know, aren't really your friends, and they just kind of say things and are kind of nasty. And I just think the environment that you're in definitely plays a big role in how you feel about yourself, which it shouldn't, but it does. Like it really does. But somebody was talking about how like flowers, whenever they don't bloom, like what do you look at, like, or what's going on when your flowers aren't blossoming? And then people are always like, well, what is their environment? And so I feel like that's the same for us. And if we're not blooming and growing and, you know, having people pour into us, then like that's just not good. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Do you have any verse to go with that? I'm looking at what I've written down, and one of the only verses I wrote down was Psalm 139:14, which you already read.
Okay.
Did you?
I had 1 Peter 3:3-4 that says, your beauty should not come from outward adornment such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that from your inner self, the unfailing beauty of the gentle spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. So I feel like I need to start typing my stuff out because sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. But I thought that was a good one, and
that's a whole nother conversation there, because I definitely do pat myself on the back when I have a cute outfit on, and I do look for compliments from other people. Like I get excited when I have a cute outfit and I'm out in public and someone's like, oh, your dress is so cute, or whatever. So
which I don't feel, I don't know if that's like wrong. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but also I think you should, like, your confidence should be in God. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, because I do that too, where I'm like, I just think about it like, God gave me this body, this is my temple, like, I've been going to the gym, I want to take good care of it. I do like clothes. Like, I do like wearing cute clothes. I don't think that's a sin. But also, having the thought of like, ooh, like, I want so and so to tell me I look good. Which sometimes, I do that because I'm thinking about Brent, my husband. And I'm like, ooh, I want Brent to think that I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, is that wrong because he's your husband?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, I guess it's, when you take it to the extent of like
vanity.
Yeah, and I want people to just notice me and look at me and all of this stuff. Like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But if I'm spending like $60 on a cute shirt, I would want a compliment. Like, I'm not just gonna, spend all this money for not have a compliment. But I feel like you shouldn't go out and like seek compliments. You know what I mean? Yeah,
for sure. My favorite compliment of all time, whenever I hear this compliment, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite, is when someone compliments the way I smell. I think that's so good. And I definitely put perfume on every day, kind of with that intention of like, well, maybe someone will say, oh, you smell good. That's probably vanity right there and seeking the approval of others. But I agree that this is our, the temple that the Lord gave us, and so we need to take care of it, and we need to have good hygiene, and we need to, be healthy and whatnot. And so I don't know.
I just think that, where true confidence should come from God. And, like, we know that. And
we've been saying that the whole time.
We've been saying that the whole time. But also just, having that in mind before we even think about putting on an outfit and being like, oh, I want to get compliments for this, this, and this. Yeah. Because, that brings me to another point, which this could be off topic, and I'm so sorry. But, like, that is how women, like, get their confidence, and and then you have like the modesty part of it, where sometimes they dress not so modest because they want to get validation from men or validation from other people, and that's where they get their confidence from. You know what I mean? And I understand, like, some people are just so weird, because we'll go out and I'll just get weird compliments.
You get the weird
from men. And I don't want it. Like, I don't go looking for that. No, thank you.
Can I tell them my favorite story? One time, Telma and I, this was back in high school.
And I don't even remember this.
Do you know what story I'm going to share?
About the guy in the car?
Yeah. Okay. Because it's my favorite story. One time, I think it was you, me, Allie, hi Allie, and Logan maybe were all in the car. And there was this guy that was in the car in front of us at a red light. He got out of his car, came to the window, knocked on it, and asked for Telma's number.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. And that, to me, it's like, what was I even doing to, like, get that, like,
you were just
kind of attention?
Looking like Telma. Like, you were just cute.
But that's where I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want any of that. But do you know what's crazy? It's like some girls would die to, like, have that sort of, like, that's their validation. Like, that's where it comes from. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get a lot of creepy men, scary men. Like, I've had guys follow me home. Like, they follow me home. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think, if I probably wasn't raised in a church, or, had the belief that, how I believe now in God and all that. And I really think I would be like, oh, yeah, you want my number? Of course. Or I would go out and, like, looking for more of that male, like, validation.
Yeah.
And no, there's just so many weird men and creepy men, and I just don't want that at all. Like, and it's hard, but, yeah.
I'm glad I shared that story, though, because, that's such a good one.
I honestly don't even remember. What did I say?
This sort of thing happens to Telma all the time, so I don't think it would even phased you. Back then in high school, like, I don't know when it started happening for you, but maybe it didn't happen. I don't know. I don't remember how you reacted. Now I feel like you wouldn't even bat an eye.
No,
that sort of thing happens all the time.
Listen, I don't know. This might be wrong, but I have no problem being rude to you if you to a man that's giving me that sort of attention. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna entertain it. I'm not gonna, like, look at you, wave at you, say hi or anything. I just don't want that at all. Like, I have no problem just being like, can I help you? Or sometimes I'll be grocery shopping and somebody will talk to me and I'm just be like, can I just please shop and get my groceries and go home? Like, leave me alone, please. But I just have to remember to be kind, but not too friendly.
That's a great quote right there, Telma. Be kind, but not too friendly.
I like it. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should put that on our t-shirts that we're going to our merch that we're going to drop soon.
There you go.
Anyway, we do have an email if you guys want to email us and with any questions or concerns or just encouraging thoughts.
Or potential topics.
Or potential topics, yes.
It's see you in heaven at gmail.com.
Perfect. We'll see you guys then.